Hello everyone, welcome back, and hello for anybody who's new. My name is Anna and this is my channel where I am recording my journey on the Cambridge Weight Plan. I started on the 1st of June and I have been doing it ever since. So here is what I share: my progress, my learnings. I'll share with you my weight loss, not my actual weight, but my weight loss, my progress, and how I've been doing, how I've been feeling, and what's new with me. So first of all, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, hit notifications, all of those wonderful things, and I look forward to keep connecting with you and this lovely community that we're creating. I read everybody's comments. I appreciate everybody so much who's been supporting me. So thank you so much for subscribing, for watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and for everybody who's comments and all of your comments with support are amazing. I love them. They cheer me up all the time. So look forward to those if you so choose to write them and leave them. So first of all, the obvious thing: my hair is a bit crazy, is wet. I have literally just come out of the bath. Indulgent, today is Tuesday. By the time I post it, it will probably be tomorrow, Wednesday. But I was feeling quite drained and stressed after work. Last week was busy. I've had people coming and staying for the last 2 weekends. It was my in-laws this weekend just gone and my parents the weekend before. So I don't feel like I've had as much of a break as I would normally have at the weekends. And I thought, you know what, I keep on pushing myself and I keep on doing things, but I need a moment for me to take care of myself. I'm feeling so tired. I could just drag myself and continue to do things, but I am going to do something I haven't done in a long time, which was to take a bath. So I got a long forgotten but still very good Lush bath bomb. I did a really nice hot bath and I soaked in it for at least half an hour, and oh my god, it was amazing. It was like the best thing I could do. I feel so refreshed. I feel so relaxed. I'm in a total happy moment. So, yeah, I hope that you feel these happy vibes, because I am over the moon that I made that decision. It felt super indulgent on a Tuesday to just have a bath out of nowhere. But it was the best thing ever. And I'm not normally a bath person. I normally just rush in and shower in and out and get on with my day. And it made me think about self-care and how often I focus on making sure that I give myself time for me and all of those wonderful topical things that we know we should do, but then we just kind of push down to the bottom of our to-do list and we never get round to do it. So today I had my little bath and it has been amazing. So if any of you are out there for baths, I highly recommend it. And before I give you my update of my weight, the final thing I will say is that having a bath, 40 kilos lighter than I was 6 months ago, feels very, very different. Now, bear in mind that I'm not going to go into details, but you know that if you have a bath, all you have to do is just lay there with your thoughts and contemplating the wonderfulness of your body. So you can do nothing but just watch whatever is happening there. So there's nowhere to hide. And yeah, it feels very different when a lot more of you is submerged, when there's a lot more floating in the water, where you've got a lot more space in the bath. I don't have a big bath, just a normal regular one. And I could put my arms down my side. I felt like I was totally floating in water. It was so nice, so nice, such a different experience. I think it was just how different it felt versus how it's done in the past that's probably cheered me up the most. But yeah, that and just how relaxing it was. It was amazing. Some nice soft music and you just can't go wrong. So at least for me, what is the sort of thing that helps you relax and unwind and feel good and feel like you're pampering yourself and taking care of yourself? Please leave comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. For me, I feel like I have reconnected back with quite an indulgent experience, which is having a bath and having just time for yourself, which is brilliant. So anyway, you want to know, Anna, how have you been doing? Especially because, as you know, last week I had an amazing week off, a 2.4 kilo loss. So, and the week before it had been less, it had been 600 grams. And I had been a bit disappointed. Well, guess what? This week it's 600 grams again. So what does that mean? 600 grams is, let me get my little cheat sheet. 600 grams is 1.3 pounds. That makes a total of 40 kilos, 3/4 for me, which is around 90.8 pounds, so almost 91 pounds lost in 6 months. And that makes a total of 6.48, so almost 6.49. So effectively, just little freckles on the, or whatever you want to call it, on the 6.5 stone, which is an amazing result. Think about that in 6 months, in a 6 month period. I could never have dreamt to have lost that much in 6 months. Seriously, 6 months ago at the start of June, I felt completely different. I was trying to lose weight through many different means. I was trying Slim Fast, and that was just making me hungrier. I was trying doing vegan diets. I was trying Weight Watchers, Slimming World, all sorts of not meal replacement, but food substitutions, different things like that. And I was getting nowhere, and I knew I wanted to do something. So finding the Cambridge diet for me has been absolutely life-changing. That's all I have to say, because the changes I feel in me in 6 months are amazing. The changes I see in me and you see in me, if you want to go back to my very first video, I can hardly recognize my face. It is amazing. I mean, like, cheekbones, what's going on here with the jawline, it's amazing. So yeah, happy days. But what's new? So this week I've said 6 months because that means that is the end of another 12-week period, which means that as of today I am on step 2. So last time I did step 2, which was right at the end of the summer, I used the food pouches from Cambridge Plan and from the one-to-one diet, and I really enjoyed them. They were beautiful, they were nice, they were filling, they were satisfying, they were convenient because you just cook them, warm them up in the microwave and turn them upside down into a bowl, and you just ate them, which I love the convenience of. But this time I wanted to eat proper food, just to get over that fear of reintroducing food, and I think just gradually starting to visualize that. And as you know, my husband has reached his goal weight, so he's reintroducing food, and I thought actually I can eat a little bit of food without worrying about anything I don't use that may be left over, because he will be able to use it into something else throughout the week or the following week, or we just freeze it cooked and he can continue to use it. So I thought, okay, well, let's give it a go. So I haven't had a meal yet. That's happening tonight after this. I'm still in two minds as to whether I'm going to record it or not. I might try to do it and then just try to pull it all together and do something quick so I can show you what I'm eating. But I'll see how I get on. Half the time it's just remembering, but I'll see what I can do, how I get on. If I can do it, I will, or at least I will take a few pictures so I can show you what I'm eating this week. So the last time I lost 600 grams, I was a little bit disappointed, and I felt like I was plateauing. This time I feel slightly better. I weighed myself at home, and I had lost 1.2 kilos at home, and in her scales I only lost 600 grams. So there is something about facing there which I'm not too fussed about. I also thought, you know what, it might be that now that I'm on 3 products, I have one great week with loads of weight loss, and then 1 week with it slightly lower, and then one up, and then one down. So it may be that it's just cycles that I'm going to be going through from now on. So I'll see how that progresses. Maybe not next week, because I will be eating food. So step 2 means that I'm going to still have 3 products a day, but I will introduce 1 200-calorie meal. So I'm effectively going back to 800 calories with actual food. So I don't know how my body's going to react. The last time I was on step 2, I lost 500 grams that week, so half kilo, a pound. which is not bad, but it was lower than I was losing. I was losing an average of 1.3 at that time every week. So I'm expecting a lower weight loss. I'm going up in calories. And it happens to be about to be that week of the month, which puts everything into a complete state of chaos. Sorry, guys, if there's any men watching, it's just a fact of life. So I'm almost bracing myself for no weight loss this week, and I'm okay with that because I think, it's a transition week. It's part of nourishing your body, taking care of yourself, reintroducing food. So I'll see how I get on, but I think it should be okay. And I'm okay if I don't lose any weight. It's just part of the process. So I'll just have to go through it. So I did promise that I was going to talk about self-care, and I will do, but let me tell you one more thing before I get on to that. I mentioned that my in-laws were over for the weekend. It was great to have them coming over, even though it was a bit of a pre-Christmas get-together with presents and all, which I wasn't ready for, so that took a little bit to get over, but it was great to see them. And they arrived, and I was the only one at home, so they saw me. We hadn't seen them since the end of the summer. We came back from holidays, so they were amazing. They were like, "Oh, you're looking great, you look fantastic, you've lost so much weight, your face looks so different," all of those wonderful things. So it was really nice. And I kept saying to them, wait until your son gets home. Wait until your son gets home. And then he did. And they were literally in a state of shock. They could not... first of all, they just didn't even get off the seat. They were just so stunned that they kept staring at him. And it was such a prolonged silence that I felt compelled to just say to them, he is really well. He is really healthy. He is eating loads of food and he looks fantastic and is at his perfect goal weight. But because his face has changed so much, he used to really carry quite a lot of weight here and around his face. Literally, his mother said, you don't look like my son at one point, which was quite funny. It was quite surprising. So it took them until the following day we were having lunch, and I did purposefully ask them, have you got over the shock of seeing him at his ideal weight? And it was quite surprising because I think we just lose sense of what normal is and what isn't. So for them to see him at his ideal weight wasn't normal. But when they've seen him throughout the years putting more and more weight, they've never said a thing. And that's the part that wasn't normal, not him getting into his ideal weight where he looks healthy. He's got a jawline he didn't have. He's got quite a lot of propensity to put weight under his neck. He's thin. He's thinned out a lot. But he's not to the point that he's ridiculous. He has gone down a lot. He has gone from a size 42 trousers to he's on a 34. We're thinking whether he might need to go to a 32. So that is a massive weight loss for a guy. He's huge and he looks so much better for it. So I think they've only seen him a couple of times in the process. So the last time they saw him, it's probably the equivalent of me right now to him. And then he's gone down that all over again. And they just can't believe the difference in him. But he does look amazing. They got over it. And what they did say is when they saw what he's eating, they felt better because they were like, you're eating a lot of food. You're eating a lot of good food. He's on 400 calorie dinners, and when you cook something like that without oil, there's a lot of chicken, there's a lot of veg, there's a lot of salad you can add to it. It really bulks up quite a lot. So eventually they got over it, but that was quite amusing. So it was interesting to see, but it made me think about what we think that is normal, what we think is not normal, what we think that somebody looking healthy or not is. How we feel about whether we think that somebody's taking care of themselves or not, and I think I've mentioned before that people will comment to you when you're just having a shake for breakfast or you're eating a small meal or something like that, is that all you're eating? But when they see you stuffing your face with a giant big greasy burger with loads of cheese and bacon and stuff on it and chips and loads of pop, and you're eating all of that and ice cream, nobody bats an eyelid. And it's like, there is something wrong with this logic, because we're not helping each other, and that's not helping our health or not. So it really made me think about what it is that, how much effort it takes to focus on really take care of yourself, especially when it hasn't been the norm, especially when you're used to different habits, and it's something that you need to get used to building differently. I do believe that the way that you take care of yourself is a reflection of how much you value yourself. And I'll say that because I think for years and years, I probably struggled with self-worth problems, and I took it out on my body in many different ways. And I've been trying to work on that on and off diet and in different ways. And I've got so much better. I've got so much more confidence. I got to the point that even before I started the diet, I think that's helped me as a kind of step before the diet. I got comfortable with what I call being unapologetically me. So being me no matter what. And just allowing myself to be me, and then just letting that happen, and then that led me to not have to worry about my food, and then I went too far, but then I felt like I needed to curve it back, and that's brought me to where I am. So it has been a little bit of a personal roller coaster, but I think I'm doing okay. I'm happy with where I am. So I'm no one to preach about this. I am not preaching. I'm just sharing my reflections, what I'm learning. So if it's helpful to you, then please take from these whatever you want. It's just my opinion. It's just my thoughts, and it's what I'm learning as I'm going through this. So also happy to hear anybody else's points of view and perspective. Always happy to do so. So thinking about self-care, what does it mean to you? What does self-care mean to you? And although it sounds like the topical and the obvious thing to do, I was thinking about self-care in the most holistic way, mind, body, and spirit. So what does that actually mean? So I actually think, that is in the right order that it should be for the right reasons. So starting with mind, what does it mean to get yourself into the right space, headspace, getting your mind in the place where you need to be, where you are taking care of yourself, where you feel happy doing that, where you want to take care of yourself and take the right decisions for you. What does it take for you to be and to stay in the right headspace? We are all exposed to a million things: emotions, events, people, comments, stress, children, pressure, all of these wonderful things that happen as part of normal day life. Bear with me a second. And sorry, that was a bit louder, but somebody's arriving downstairs. I was just closing the door. So what does it mean to take care of your mind? For me, it's all of the things that I need to do to get into the right mindset. Because if you're in the right mindset, you make the right decisions, you take the right actions, you follow through with those, you get the right willpower, and therefore you can drive consistency that you need in your life to get the things that you want done. So that's why it is so important to make sure that you are and you stay in the right headspace. And that's why taking care of your mind, your thinking, your anemic state, your mood, all of those things will have a major impact on how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your worth, what you're worth doing, what's worth doing for you, what is not worth doing for you, whether you want to be bothered or not, how you set your boundaries for yourself, how you take in criticism from others or not. So that is very important. And I think I did a lot of work on my mind before I started this diet. And I think it's the fact that I did that has enabled me to then be so focused about what I'm doing, and that's making a big difference to how much I'm sticking to this diet versus other diets that I have done in the past. I won't say I have cracked it, because I'm still doing this and I have to get to the end of it, and I have to not just get to the end of it but sustain it going forward after that. So ask me in 2 years' time if I've got it or not. But for now, that's a big thing that I think has made a big difference to me and to my ability to stay on plan and how I'm thinking about myself at the moment versus what I may have done in the past. So I said mind, body, spirit. Let's move on to the next one, the body. So this is I guess a bit of a tricky one because there's so many elements to that. So of course, I'm talking about the Cambridge diet, or the one-to-one diet. So I will talk about diet. And what does diet mean to you? Because usually in the past, you may have mentioned diet to me, and all I used to think about was restriction, limitation, all of the things that you cannot do, something you're forced to do, but you don't want to, something you have to do. And all of that really makes you want to stick to it, doesn't it? So, but I got to the point that I wanted to do diets because I just couldn't stand the low energy that I had. I felt like I had to literally peel my soul off the pillow every morning. I struggled with food. I felt that I had to just eat food throughout the day and have loads of caffeine so I could keep myself going. I was really struggling with energy. I was struggling to think clearly. I could feel a lot of mental fog happening, and that's just something that was really getting to me. So it's just something that that was getting to me. So energy was a big diet driver for me, and that made me stick to it. And in the past, I had done a juicing cleanse for about 60 days, and it was great, and it did do a lot of wonderful things for me. But just juicing as a way of life is not sustainable. It doesn't give you what you need. So I didn't stick to it, even though I did do it for 60 days, doing nothing but juicing. So I do have a high degree of willpower once I get my mind to something, but I knew it wasn't a sustainable lifestyle, so it wasn't the right thing to do. But it did give me a boost of energy, and it helped me to realize what it feels like to feel good, and when you have the right energy, how much more you can do with your day, how differently you turn up to everything you do. So it gave me a feel for how much better life could be when you have the right energy levels, and that's something that I cannot undersell, and I cannot focus on enough, because that drives everything you do. So having that right energy is crucial. And I found out that the nutrition and what you eat has a huge amount of correlation to that. So if you're giving your body the right nutrients, or if you're giving it the wrong nutrients, if you're doing things to it that will give you highs and lows of sugar and it makes you peak and crash, that will impact your energy levels. But for me, I found it difficult to find the right way of breaking certain cycles. When you have food addiction, caffeine addictions, all of these sort of things, it plays, and it does take a while to break those cycles. So that took a while to work through. But the diet, for energy, for nutrition, for personal health, what you're doing for yourself, whether it's affecting your cholesterol or not, which luckily mine, I wasn't affected by it, but there's a lot of people who are. You may have been impacted by other things. You could have irregular periods, you could have sleep apnea, you could have skin rashes, you could have lumps and spots and acne. You could have a million things that impact you, that can affect you, and that you end up living with, and you don't realize that. But before you know it, you have all these aches and pains. And I used to have a lot of backache, of course, because of the weight. I was also getting to the point that I was getting pins and needles on my left thigh, especially if I stood up for too long. So I couldn't go to Tesco and do my weekly shopping and go up and down the aisles and finish the shopping without getting pins and needles on my thigh by the time I finished. And I'm pretty sure that that was just the weight of my belly on the nerves on the top part of my thigh. And that's gone. And it just, one day I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I don't have that anymore. My ankles used to hurt walking around because I was that heavy that the poor things were just struggling to move around. My back was hurting. I only had so much mobility. I can't even begin to express how difficult putting socks on was. I think I'd even stopped wearing socks last year. A, because I was too hot all the time because of all of that extra blubber that I was carrying around with me. But also just the thought of trying to bend forward or contort myself in a way that I could put my socks on, because I had that much belly in the way, that was making it difficult to reach, was just really uncomfortable. And I was living in total denial. I really just did not want to face that. So it's interesting what you get used to living with, and you don't realize it until you don't anymore. And then you realize how much better your quality of life is as a result of that. And I have felt that in so many ways. And I'll do a separate video actually on that. I'll do another video on the little ways and the little things in which, the little things that have changed in life and the big changes they have meant for me. And it could be a million one things, from a seat belt on a plane to socks to a million other things. So I'll touch on that on a separate video, because it deserves time of its own. But that makes a big difference. So we're still on the subject of the body. Exercise is another big thing. I'm no one to preach here. I don't really do a huge amount of exercise. I walk my dog at the moment, and that is it. Sometimes I walk her more, sometimes I walk her less. Sometimes we're both feeling as lazy as each other, especially if the weather is bad, and we just go to the green round the corner and we run back into the house. Sometimes I'll force her, sometimes she forces me. But that's about it. Most of the time, my husband forces the two of us to go for longer walks, especially now that he started running. But he's mentioned that he's running and it feels so different to how he did 6 months ago. It's so much easier when he's not carrying around 40 kilos or 46 kilos of his own. So it does make a massive difference. In the future, I'll get to that. There's things I want to do and I will share it when the time comes, but I'm not there yet. So for now, dog walks is what I do and I'm happy with it and it helps me. So I'll stick to it. But I am conscious that I will need to increase my exercise levels when I get to my goal weight. So especially in January, because if I'm going skiing, I'm going to have to do something about building up my thighs. But I normally have fairly good thigh muscles, so I think I can do a little bit to help me towards that. But yeah, that's going to be January's worries. So we'll see. We'll get to that point. And then the other thing that I was going to say about the body is just, what do you do about your self-care routines? As you're losing weight, the obvious thing is to moisturize. I'm not going to go into what is your face care routine, because everybody has their own. But, I always used to have loads of dry skin. I think I was even getting to the point that it was so easily irritated that I felt like I might have rosacea, which is a skin condition that it's because of your immune system is in like overdrive, and it makes your face really red and it can be quite uncomfortable, really dry. I always had really pink, rosy cheeks. I still do. They're still a bit pink, but nothing like they used to be. So that's something that has improved. But what I've noticed is that I need to moisturize from head to toe, absolutely everywhere. So first of all, you need to keep up with your water, because if you don't keep up with your water, you dry out. You literally feel it on your skin. So water is a big indication. If you're getting rough skin, you're not drinking enough. Drink more water, because you need to do. So water to moisturize yourself first of all, then face cream. As you lose weight, the skin will sag. Like, my skin looks great, but and I don't have a huge amount of wrinkles, but I do put a fair amount of cream on my face every day to make sure that it stays nice and soft and there is not a huge amount of saggage, because as you lose weight, You may not have had so many wrinkles, but they can come in, and you could end up with loads of marks on your face, and you could end up with a lot of sagging. There's like, look at that. So do a lot of that to help everything get what it needs to be. I'm not obsessive about face creams, by the way. I'm not, but I do like to make sure that my skin doesn't feel tight and that it feels moisturized. What I feel I really need it is everywhere else, because there are days when I just get really itchy and really flaky if I don't moisturize. My trick for you, if you live in the UK, is Palmer's cream. They do an amazing cream for, typically they advertise it for pregnant women to avoid stretch marks. Stretch marks on fast weight loss is something you're going to have to live with. If you have as much weight to lose as I have, and as I've had, and if you've done a number of diets, you probably already live with your stretch marks anyway, so it's something that is going to happen. Just accept them, love them, get over it. But the Palmer's cream is great to help the skin texture stay in a good place. They also do, I think it's either in Boots or in Superdrug, you can find it in the spray form. I don't get paid for any of these. This is tried and tested. The spray one is amazing. It smells great and it absorbs really quickly. And if you don't have time for cream, you just spray everywhere. You just rub it and it absorbs really quick and you're good to go. And it doesn't stain your clothes or anything like that. And the other thing that I find great in the body moisturizing space is also by Palmer's, but they have an oil. So when you finish in your shower, you basically apply the oil everywhere. It's a bit like the Johnson's baby oil, but the Palmer's version. And you put it on, you let your body then air dry. And I feel a massive difference when I put it on versus the days when I don't. So if you're losing a lot of weight, then find the right creams that work for you. Creams and body oils are great because they help the skin to stay toned, to retain a little bit of that elasticity and make sure that everything's not sagging down, because you may have a little bit of that, but we of course want to avoid it if possible. And you know what your trouble areas are, whether you're a man or a woman, you will benefit from it. So moisturize. And then the other thing that I will touch on the body is, whatever other self-care routines you have, they'll be a little bit easier. For me, the hair, I'll mention it because, as you know, it is drying quite quickly, even as I'm talking. I've mentioned it because it does fall off, and I've purposefully left it because I can show you that there is a fair amount of hair that falls off when I do that. Don't worry, I'm not going to subject you to my hair. And I have had it curly for since the weekend, and when I have it curly, it doesn't fall as much. So when I do that, it falls off a lot more. But I keep on taking the biotin. It's getting better, as I've mentioned in the past. It is growing, so I'm not worried about it. But just notice the things that are changing in your body and make sure that you're finding a way to take care of that. Because, oh my God, I don't know why my nose is itching so much. But just don't ignore it. Just take care of it. Take care of yourself. Sometimes it is easier to just kind of carry on regardless. But it's better to just confront it and take care of it and do whatever it is that you need to do. So, make sure that you do that. Reflect on what's happening with your body. Allow yourself to feel it, and then just deal with it. It's for your own good. You're totally worth it. So, do it. Anyway, and then, so mind, body, and what comes last? Definitely not least, spirit. So this is a very personal thing, and I'm not going to get spiritual with all of you. This is down to each one of you, what's relevant to you, what you believe in, what's right for you. But the best way that I think about this is that I think is kind of more global and just universal and not specific, because this means different things for different people. But for me, it's what are the things that are important to you to help you stay inspired, stay connected, stay happy and focused and driven and wanting more, and give you, I have said inspire, but give you goals and perspective, and happy, and what gives you your energy, what makes you you, what are the things that you believe in, what are the things that keep you going, what are the things that are helping you evolve and grow as a person, whatever that might be, whether it's religion, film, inspirational talks, books, downtime, family, your network, your friends, your family, all of those different things. For me, it's a combination of all of that. And I do quite a lot to help me stay focused. I've said that I've worked a lot on my self-worth. There's nothing I love more than a good self-help book, and something that helps me give a different perspective and grow as a person. It makes me tick, it makes me question what I do, how I do it, how I interact with others. I guess I feel like it helps me, give me tools to deal with new challenges in life, but it also gets me inspired to tackle new challenges in life and to want more for myself. That's how I see it, and also it helps me to think about what do I want my personal contribution to be, what do I want to stand for, what do I believe in. So that's what's important to me. It's part of the reason why I do this, because I feel that I've struggled with weight loss for so long, and it feels like it's a taboo thing. There's a lot of fat shaming and shaming of people with overweight, and assumptions around them, and whether they take care of themselves or not, and whether they're lazy or not, and there's a whole range of different things which are just not true, and there's a lot of struggle that goes along with it. And I guess for me, what drives me is that if I can help other people understand that what you're going through is normal, and you need to give yourself a break, and there are things that you can do to keep yourself going and keep trying, and that you're worth trying one more time, even if you have failed in the past, it's okay to forgive yourself and to move forward. That's what's important, and that's why I do this. Really, that's why I started this channel. So that to me is super important. So thinking about that, through last week's comments, Hannah, you made a nice comment around people will always have an opinion. It made me think of two quotes that I love, and I'm not a big quotey person, I have to say. I do like reading them, but I don't go around quoting people, so allow me my moment of having a bit of a quote moment. But I was going to say, there's not many times I do this, but I think it's worth it, and it doesn't just apply to women, even though it's quotes by Eleanor Roosevelt. So there are two things that she said that I think are important. I mentioned them in my comments, my comment reply to Hannah last week, but I will say it again because I think it's important to touch on that, and I think are worth it for anybody who's going through this type of process. So the first one is that nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. So basically you're responsible for how you feel, and nobody can belittle you if you don't take their words into account, because only you can allow yourself to be impacted by the words of others. And if you choose to understand that they will have your opinion, but they're not you and they don't condition you, that puts you in a position of strength and within yourself. That means you can tackle anything that is thrown at you. So I love that, and something that has definitely helped me in the past. The other thing that that Eleanor Roosevelt said that resonated with me a lot is, do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you will be criticized anyway. The way I have always mentioned this is, you're doomed if you do, and you're doomed if you don't. but you have to live with yourself. Everybody carries on about their own business. So whatever you do, make sure that you're happy with it and you do right for you and by you, because you're the one that needs to live with yourself. And people are going to criticize anyway. So if they're going to criticize you for what you do, why condition yourself by it anyway? They're going to carry on about their lives, so ignore it. I know that is easier said than done, but I find that those two things are being incredibly helpful for me, particularly because as you're losing weight, so many people have something to say. I've shared this in previous videos. I'm not going to go over it all over again, but you will always have comments from people, whether it's family, friends, colleagues, random strangers on the street, the looks that you get from people. People will always have an opinion. They'll show something. They'll be consciously or unconsciously insensitive. Sometimes they don't mean to do so, but they don't even realize what they do. But you do right by you. If other people don't understand it, then when I was doing the juicing, I was looking so much better. I was feeling better, but I got comments on it every single day, like you're on the witch juice and all of this kind of stuff, because it was like bright green. But I was feeling so much better. It's like, why can't you just let me be? When I started on the Cambridge the 1-to-1 diet, I remember somebody at work saying, you're not just eating, living on shakes. Is this what it takes to function through life like that? Can't be life itself. It's like, well, this is what it takes for me to get the goals and the results that I want. So you do your thing and I'll do mine. And of course, this came from somebody who's a stick insect, and it's not something that they can relate to, because it's clear that they haven't struggled with their weight ever. But if you have, it's a major thing. So finding something that works for you is super important. So don't allow others to condition you by it. There will always, the other classic thing that I find is when you say that you're doing one diet, people will tell you about the diet that somebody else is doing, or what you could do to tweak your diet to get even better results than you're doing right now. Like, you couldn't possibly be doing right, so you must starve yourself even more, or you must not eat anything else so that you can get better results, because losing what you're losing is not good enough. I mean, who does that? Well, they don't say it on purpose to try to derail you, but it can do. It definitely has done for me in the past, because when they do that, then you question yourself and you start thinking, should I be doing this or not? So the sooner you can block all of that out, and the sooner you get comfortable with doing you, I hate to be obvious about it, but again, the whole you do you make your choices, it is your life, you make your mistakes, you learn from them, you move on, you're allowed to do that, but learn from them and move on, and keep on going until you find the thing that works for you. And if you fail once, I've failed a million times, don't give up. It's okay. Just forgive yourself, because it's going to happen. But also, don't cut yourself more slack than you need to. Forgive yourself and say, okay, that didn't work. What am I going to learn from this? What do I need to do differently going forward? Move on. Own it. Get past it. That's all you need to do. So that's it. I feel like it has been a bit of a quite an intense and quite a bit of a deeper conversation, but hopefully you can relate to that, because I think the topic of self-care, if you are somebody that you've struggled with your weight, is an important thing. As you're going through the weight loss process, it's super important to continue to adapt how you take care of yourself, so you can adopt new things that will help you stay in or adapt to that new phase that you're in. It's important to do that. And in the words of the wonderful L'Oreal ad, you are worth it, we're all worth it, it's worth doing it, it's worth taking care of yourself. So and you deserve it, even if it is on a Tuesday and you have a bath out of nowhere because you want to. So what are you going to do for you this week? That is my challenge to all of you. Do something for you that you wouldn't normally do, that you feel that is super indulgent, but you feel, you know what, I'm pampering myself, I'm taking care of myself. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. We all deserve that. So you go ahead, leave me comments down below. Let me know how you've done. Let me know if you found this helpful. Please subscribe. Look forward to hearing from all of you. I hope you have amazing weeks. If you're losing weight, I wish you the best results possible, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Have a wonderful week. All the best. Bye.